One of my favorite pastimes as a teacher librarian is reading. Today I'm going to share one of my favorite authors with you and give a book talk for one of her books. Amelia Atwater-Rhodes became a published author at the age of 13. Her first novel was In the Forests of the Night. She writes for the supernatural fantasy genre, dealing mostly with vampires, witches, fairies, and shapeshifters. There are two elements of her writing that I find most curious. First is the way she always incorporates something of herself into her novels. Second is that all of her stories have the characters from her other books interconnect somehow. They all show up at some point or another to take part, however small, but do not take away from the main characters of a particular story. Out of all of her books, Demon in My View is my favorite. Here is a brief excerpt from this novel. The Poem Alone by Edgar Allan Poe. From childhood's hour I have not been as others were. I have not seen as others saw. I could not bring my passions from a common spring. From the same source I have not taken. My sorrow I could not awaken, my heart to joy at the same tone, and all I'd loved alone. Then, in my childhood, in the dawn of a most stormy life, was drawn, from every depth of good and ill, the mystery which binds me still, from the torrent or the fountain, from the red cliff of the mountain, from the sun that round me rolled, in its autumn tint of gold, from the lighting of the sky, as it passed me flying by, from the thunder and the storm, and the cloud that took the form, when the rest of heaven was blue, of a demon in my view. The night is full of mystery. Even when the moon is brightest, secrets hide everywhere. Then the sun rises, and its rays cast so many shadows that the day creates more illusion than all the veiled truth of the night. I have lived in this illusion for much of my life, but I have never belonged to it. Before my birth I existed for too long in the realm between nothingness and life, and even now the night still whispers to me. A strong cord binds me to the dark side of the world, and shields me from the light. The black oblivion of sleep was shattered by the caterwauling of some singer on Jessica's clock radio. She groaned and viciously beat the alarm clock into silence, then groped blindly for the light switch. The somber red glow of her lava lamp provided just enough light to read the time. 7 o'clock. The red numbers glowed sadistically, and Jessica swore. Only 2 hours of sleep again. How she managed to remain in the conscious world at all was a mystery, but she dragged herself into the shower, where the cold water finished what the alarm clock had started. Only 180 days left of school, Jessica thought as she prepared for the first day of her senior year of high school. There was barely enough time to get dressed before she had to pull her backpack onto her shoulders and dart down the stairs to catch the bus. Breakfast? A fleeting dream. Ah, Ramsah High School. What a perfect little niche of hell, she thought, as the bus pulled up to the school. In 1 year you will be out of here forever. That fact was the only thing that had convinced Jessica to get out of bed that morning. If she passed senior year, she would never need to succumb to the grasp of Ramsah High again. As she entered the building, Jessica came upon a group of girls who had gathered near the main office. "Nice body," she heard one of them whisper, referring to someone in the office. "Who is he?" asked another girl. "No idea," the first one answered, "but you've got to admit he's cute." "Cute," the third girl repeated. "He is totally hot." Jessica couldn't see the subject of this profound conversation. Probably some handsome blonde substitute who will turn out to be the most hated teacher in the school, she thought pessimistically. "Who are you looking at?" she asked the 3 gawking girls. The quietest, a senior named Kathy, looked over her shoulder, recognized Jessica, grabbed her friend's arms, and pulled the girls away. Jessica scowled as she watched them go. At least most people were subtle about moving away from her. She quickly forgot the girls' behavior, however, when she glanced into the office and saw the object of their admiration. His face could have been modeled after the portrait on a Roman coin. Hair the color of raven feathers contrasted with his fair skin, and when he turned a bit she saw that a few strands had fallen across his eyes, shadowing them. He was dressed entirely in black, except for a gold chain around his neck. The pendant on the chain looked like a cross, but Jessica couldn't be sure from where she was standing. A shock of recognition struck her. Aubrey. Aubrey was without a doubt her favorite character from the books she had written. He had been a villain in Tiger Tiger and the main character in Dark Flame. Gorgeous, powerful, and somewhat mysterious. He was every teenage girl's fantasy, or at least he was hers. Considering her present status in the world of teenagers, she couldn't pretend to speak for the rest of the female population. Of course, Aubrey was a vampire. Get a grip, Jessica. You write fiction, she reminded herself. Aubrey doesn't exist. She would hardly have minded if her vampire hero had existed, but such a thing was impossible. Vampires were not real.